What's good, y'all? I'm about to head on my way home. Excuse the mess in the car. But, yeah. I'm actually about to be on my way home in a little bit. Figured I'd jump on here. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the posts I'm putting up. I'm not talking about the ones with the video and stuff, people's dancing and all that. I'm talking about the flyer, where we're going to be going over some important information in some upcoming classes. You know, I've actually been having several conversations about a lot of this stuff, and yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for a few people to jump on, see if anybody is interested in jumping on right now. I know there's a couple other lives going on, people that are a little more, I guess, important in people's minds are on lives right now, so that's fine, because what separates me from them is really that I'm just doing what I do to help out. I'm doing what I do to bring awareness and information to those who want to hear it, you know, and I actually know what I'm talking about. Hello, Miss Kara. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, yeah. Yep, just talking for a little bit, because I wanted to go over some things that I've been noticing, things that I've been, you know, kind of having revelations on and stuff like that, especially dealing with the community and what it means to be a community. There's quite a bit that people will say when it comes down to, and actually, Ms. Kara, you were there, so you actually have seen what we've done. There's a lot of people who, when they do certain things, they always yell and shout, you know, hey, we're doing it for the community. You're out there for the community. Community this, community that. And I kind of wanted to go over, well, starting with the basics of what a community is. Community literally refers to a collective environment or ecosystem in which the sum of its parts all work together, just like, you know, cogs in a machine. Meaning they perpetuate, they self-sustain, they help support one another within this ecosystem. And in an ecosystem, there is an equilibrium or balance point established between the environment itself and those who live within it. I mean, animals have this, microorganisms have it, people have it. But specifically narrowing this down to the dance community, I think that the original concept of what it meant to be a community was lost, because somewhere along the line it went from being about actually doing things in the community for the community and using the arts to help promote said community and show that the community is built on more than just, you know, silly antics or loud music or whatever. Because nowadays a lot of people who say that they're doing this for the community, they're doing more so that the community will look at them, as opposed to doing them and letting the community see the work that they're doing, and community work reflect on the community itself. So I'm probably going to break the world record for saying community as many times as I can. But what I mean by that is this. There is so much more that could be done, and so much more that you can do with the dance world, with the arts, with the hip-hop community, with the hip-hop culture, than just one, you know, kind of teaching a watered down version of it and calling it a hip-hop class, or battling all the time, or any of those things. There's other things that can be done, you know. There's a lot more that this art has to bring to the world, but having the right tools to do so, having the right tools to not only represent yourself outside of that community, but also represent the entire, you know, facet of your artistry, that's important. Because the other thing about a community is that it is often bordered. It has a closed-off section, meaning it is a definite group or balance that lives within a certain area, and they establish almost like a home-based type feel, whether it is a physical border or a psychological one. And because of that, a lot of things in the dance community are not known to people who don't dance. For example, Ms. Kara, you probably don't know about half the events that go on in the dance world, unless you happen to follow, you know, a dancer out there in the streets who knows these things. And, I mean, like, you have your major events, like Red Bull BC1, Notorious IBE, Just to the Boot, what else? You have Snipes Battle of the Year. The ones that you see have crossed the border from being just a locally known community event into being something that is recognized nationally, internationally, among people who are in the community and outside of that community. So I guess what I'm getting at is this. When it comes down to the dance community and what it could do, so much of it is closed off, so much of it is hidden away, because some people haven't learned the process in which they can transition from just being a member of the dance community itself to being able to represent the dance community in the eyes of the general public. You know, and there's like this invisible border that I don't know what it is with dancers, I don't know what it is with, you know, people within the dance community who don't look at this, but a lot of people feel like if they're not battling, they're never going to cross that border and get outside of the local dance community or be anything with dance, and that's not true and it's not fair. And I'm going to tell you why. Because battles are literally part of the original community, as far as like, it was an exchange that happened when people were dancing in general. It was, oh, I see somebody is dancing and I'm going to challenge them because I think I can outdo them type thing. Whether it was aggressive, egregious, or it could have just been friendly, whatever. Yeah, we're not going to ignore that dancing and battling are part of that community, but what is a truth about that is that there are ways to make yourself known in the dance community that don't necessarily have to go through the battle community. Because battling, while it has its place and it has its day, you know, it is not the end-all be-all of the dance community. And this is why I'm going to be teaching that series online coming up, starting with the class at Flex Dance Program. So Jeeps, if you want to be in on these classes, I'm doing one with Flex Dance Program, and then I'm doing 4 more that are going to be part of a series that teaches the breakdown of transitioning, and they're called From a Battle to Business Mentality, of how to transition from thinking as a battlehead all the time to thinking about, okay, I want to dance full time. I want to be able to, you know, book and do shows and do other things and find out what you can do with this dance, because this dance isn't just limiting to just background dancing and battles. There's way more that can be done with this. So, but keeping it focused, because this talk is pretty much just like a prelude talk to me getting to that workshop as I'm on the way home, of course. Battles, as I said earlier, they have their place. You know, people do their thing. They have their, they have their moments. It's either going to be all love and respect, or some people who battle, they battle because they don't like you or whatever. Anyways, old school battles, you got it out, and once it was done, and nobody after that really cared. It was just like, hey, we did our thing, let it be. What happens now is that as generations have moved forward, more people see the battle scene as a hierarchy. And that hierarchy meaning that, after a certain point, or after a certain level of battles, you no longer need to prove, the skill level. You start doing exhibitions, or you get to the point where there are people that are hailed as being like these untouchables or these undefeateds. Terms and things like that are what kind of close off the dance world. Not saying that people can't just be that good to where they're undefeated, but look at this one. In a prison, you come in as a nobody, and say you start getting into fights. You either challenge somebody to make your mark, or they challenge you and you have to beat the heck out of them, whatever. After you've been in so many fights, people stop messing with you. Or they'll tell people, because your reputation, your clout, your credit will kick in, and it'll be like, oh, well, yeah, no, don't mess with that guy. That guy's dangerous. Or no, that guy's going to destroy you. He's going to beat you bad. Like, you start to transcend being just a fighter and become known as like one of those people that's, oh, don't mess with that guy. You have a reputation. Battle scene is like that. A lot of times. Like, it doesn't always mean it in a negative way, because sometimes the reputation is like, oh, yo, dude, that person's so dope, you don't want to battle them. Like, oh, no, don't battle them. And then it's like, okay, well, with that, now it's you no longer battle through prelims, top 16, top 8, semifinals, or finals. You now only do exhibitions. When you get to that level, a cap forms, because what'll happen is dancers will start to put you in this place as, oh, they're undefeated, they're untouchable, you'll never be better than this person. Even if someone who has a better skill comes up later on in life, and they are better. They have genuine skill, genuine ability, because you're never number one forever. You can train all you want. Age catches up to you. Life and responsibility catches up to you. And I'll go over those numbers of this battle scene in a minute, but now I'm going through just the culture of battle scene. So, age training habits, life itself, all those things are going to eventually take their toll on you. And then you're going to start seeing, that's why you see a lot of people who are hailed as being like these OGs in the scene sometimes, or even young people who like the title of OG, even though they technically shouldn't have it, because an OG is not a title that you earn. It's something that you are given by people generations and generations and generations ahead, not by being the best battler, but by being someone who impacts the community and the culture in a way that is talked about for generations to come. And I'll get more on that in a minute. But as I was saying, let's say that whoever this is in the battle scene, they battled their way up through fame and fortune, a lot older now, a younger generation's coming up, they're learning, they're picking it up, they're getting better, they're surpassing what was there before. You have two options. This person, this person who built their life and built their career, we'll say, on being this heavy hitter battle dancer, is now up against younger, faster, smoother, sometimes cleaner dancers who not only have that foundation, but also have the youth, the vigor, the energy to do a little bit more. And things evolve, just like Pokemon. So after a certain point, you have to make a transition. You can't battle forever. But you've invested all of your time, energy, money, and livelihood into battling. So you haven't, you never started teaching. You never really did anything outside the battle scene. So in the battle scene, you were considered this OG, this, this is the Grand Master. Once you step outside the battle scene, though, just like when a prisoner who was the top fighter in prison steps outside of prison, you're nobody. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares. Because what you did was impactful in 1% of your livelihood. 1% of your life was impactful. Because there's more you could have done outside of this parameter that you call the community that you want to battle in. So what happens is people lock down the scene. Nobody wants to give up a crown. So then you start capping out. You start having people that you know are your friends who judge for you, run your music for you, and create these perpetual micro scenes that people get trapped into paying money into these events and wanting to go and try to battle their way to the top. They're hopeful. They think that I might win or whatever. But only the people who pay homage to those OGs up at the top are allowed, after a certain period of time, they're allowed to be seen. They're allowed to be like, okay, we knew he was doper than us when he got here, but we're going to put him through the ringer. We're going to see if he's going to play ball with us. We're going to see if he's, gonna adhere to, our version of the scene. Like if he's got to go through us or she's got to go through us. And it's like, oh, so now it's no longer community. Now it's hierarchy. Now you got yourself a kingdom. Got a dynasty. When you get into that level of community, forget it. You're no longer part of hip-hop community. You are now your own community outside of it. And there are communities outside of it, but what's the problem is this. Now you're lying. Because now the people who are doing better than what you say, they're trusting that your judges and the people you're looking at know what they're looking for. They are trusting that the OGs are being honest about the skill and integrity of what they see in the next generation. And they're not, because some of them are too focused on being relevant, because they never learned how to pass on a legacy. Why did they never learn how to pass on a legacy? Because nobody ever told them there was more than just battling all the time and fighting for that title to reach for. And there is. That is why I'm getting through this whole thing of what I did. Because this will be, I will tell my story of what happened in a minute, as far as how I've been in Atlanta and how I got to being where I'm at without having to go through the battle scene. Because it's like people don't know you can do this. People think that if you're not battling, then sponsors won't come find you and people won't ask you to be in things and come hire you to do all this stuff. And that's not true. It's not, because the battle scene is not the only place in which the dance community can touch base with the regular community outside of it. And Cheeps, I see you, because this is exactly what happens to me. But let's finish out the analysis real quick, because this whole thing goes full circle. And I've broken it down several times to people, and people have acted like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about for many years, but then they come back and hit me up and be like, you know what, bro, we understand, actually. We know what you're talking about. So let's say, okay, now the hierarchy's there. you're not moving up. You can't get out of prelims. You can't do anything, even though you're dope. And other dancers in the scene are like, bro, I don't know what the judges were thinking, but you're dope. You should have been made it through. You should have won that event. But you can't make it out of prelims because the judges are friends with the hierarchy. The DJ plays the music of the people who pay their homage to the hierarchy. They pay their dues and put money into these events. Money that only goes through a battle. The battle money circulates back to the promoters and the event holders because they pay the judges, the DJ, they rent the space, and they pay whoever the host is going to be or the hostess is going to be. That money stays in the community, in the pockets of the people running the event. If you put down $1,500 on an event to rent out an event space, promotion and all that, and then you go and you have $30 tickets, by the time you've had 4 people sign up, you've already made $100 back plus 20. Now imagine 50, 60 people show up at $30 a ticket. 50 to 60 people times $30. That's only if 50 people show up. Some of these events have like 100, 200 people at them. That money can be split. Okay, we'll say, okay, grand prize money. That cash goes in there too. That comes out of the pocket of the promoter. But then they have vendors at the event. They have food at the event, which those people make their money and everything too. But ultimately, does any of that money that these hard-working dancers go and do their, go and train and work their Walmart job and dream of the day that, they can do a You Got Served and just hit that big bounce check and just make that one big hit that's going to take care of them. None of those young, inspiring dancers have teachers, guides, counselors, or anybody to tell them that battles are like playing the lottery with your body. Battles are like saying, I'm going to put money on my skill. I'm going to pay to go to this event hoping that they allow me into the hierarchy. Because guess what? The judges, the OGs, or whoever they have over the event, they're going to get paid. They get a check. They don't have to fight for theirs. Exhibition battles, because I'm talking about the OGs, they're going to get a check. They get a check to show up because then they no longer have to be judged. Because now they don't even judge the exhibition battles anymore. They don't. They don't judge the exhibition battles because you're at the point where you no longer need to be judged. You can go in there, pick your music, mind you, because in the original community, no one picked your track. You executed your level of skill and ability to identify and emulate music through physical motion by dancing to a track that nobody knew. A non-pre-selected track by a DJ who understood how music worked as an element of hip-hop, mind you. There are 4 of them. The DJ, the MC, the graffiti, the b-boy. All of them understood how this community worked because they were the pillars that held it up. But you're no longer, you can't get out of prelims, but you're putting money into this machine and hoping and praying and training as hard as you can. And you're wondering why you never make it out of prelims. You're like, I must be a horrible dancer then. I'm a bad dancer. No, you're not. You are a victim of a system that no longer cares about community. It now cares about hierarchy. And there cannot be a hierarchy in the hip-hop community because the hip-hop community was about building platforms up on those pillars, and then building a platform up for the next person to build, and then to the next person to build, and all the way up. An endless platform to lift people out of an area, out of a time in which people had nothing and they had to build something out of nothing. Okay? That was the original concept of community. That was what it came from. So the whole premise of that example, showing you of how thinking that battling is the only way to get out of the dance community as a nobody is false, is to show you that there are things you can do outside of it. Because guess what? Just as I said before, let's say that you go back to the OG example. Once he steps outside of prison, he might have been, King Kong in prison. He was whooping up on everybody. He was the guy. He was getting everybody's ramen noodles and money off their books and stuff, and they was paying this man good. But the minute he steps outside of prison and he walks across that street into the free world once more, nobody cares who he is. Because the world he rocked was so small. The world he rocked was so tiny that it was insignificant. Now, let's flip that to the dance side. Question for you people that are watching. The money to fund you as a dancer, does it come from inside or outside the dance community? Because, before you answer, think about this. Who offers the sponsorships? Who has the money to support your sponsorships? Who has the funding and social media and media relations to give you opportunities? I don't see other dancers with TV network stations hiring dancers to come perform on shows. I don't see other dancers with, huge conglomerate multi-billion-dollar companies hiring dancers to be their poster children and poster boy and poster girl for their products. I don't see dancers being able to give you money to consistently do what you do for a living. You know why? Because the dance community has remained too small for too long. Dance community is built off of dancers who hone their craft and seek a way to show that craft to the world. How do you break through the ceiling? That's why I'm teaching the class. I'm teaching the class Battle to Business Mentality, because the techniques I'm giving you guys in this class, honestly, I've tried giving it out for free many times and nobody listened to me. They didn't. Whatever. Whatever, okay. Because that's my story, backstory. I'm from Texas originally, Houston, Texas. Moved here to Atlanta 4 years ago. 4 years ago. 5 years ago. Wow, time flies. Yeah. And I was a nobody in the dance scene. I actually showed my friends in Dragon House the picture, my friend Bam actually, of the message I sent them, because I was a fan, still am, of you guys don't know me, but one day hopefully we all can dance together. I said that because I was inspired. I've gone through not being able to get out of prelims, not being able to even make it into the event, or being slashed, like making it to battles where I battle and I obviously took out that round. And I see the judges literally go like, okay, right, and collude to not vote for me. I'm not stupid, and I'm not self-centered, and I'm not arrogant, and I'm not blind, because even my fiance has come with me to events and seen this exact same treatment of me. Friends of mine have gone to events. Crewmates have gone to events, and they've seen it. So that's what happened. 2017, 2018, I started teaching. I learned a skill that was infinitely more valuable than just the ability that I have, because guess what? Anybody can do anything, but if you can't teach it, that skill dies with you. I started teaching full time, getting a check every week on my art, allowing me not only to practice, but also to train and to practice the art of teaching what I know and understanding how deep I can understand what I know to teach the next generation. My mentors were those who created it. They were the originators, pioneers, things of that nature, and friends who had learned from pioneers and were giving me their perspectives and their techniques to help push it to the next generation so that the next generation didn't have the generational disconnect on understanding terminology. I've done all of this. I've taught all of this. So, because of that, I learned a skill that gave me the ability to not just open the door for myself, but to also reach back and push that door open for the next people. And whoever listened, I gave them that information. Some of them didn't apply it, some of them did. But as I started doing that, I found out how to get myself booked, how to negotiate and use the abilities I have in writing and understanding social media, networking, small business management, all these things that I learned over the years, all these random skills that my dad always told me have several skills so that you never have to wonder where your paycheck's gonna come from. I applied all of it to the dance world and I said, okay, I got nothing to lose, let's do it. Because I've been homeless, y'all. I've been there. A couple times. Once you hit the bottom of the pool, you push back up and swim to the top. That's how that works. So sorry about that. I don't know what happened. No idea. I don't know. All right. My phone just flipped out on me for a second. So, sorry about that. As I was saying, I've been to the bottom, I've come back up, because that's how it works in life. So I learned the system not only for teaching this, but also how to start the proper conversation, how to negotiate, how to build a resume, what you need to have in a resume so people will want to pay you, how to talk to people that don't want to pay you, but make them understand that even if they don't like you, they got to respect you and they got to cut you a check, or they don't get a piece of any of that hard-earned ability that you put your life's work into, because dancers are not a dime a dozen. We are not. But they want us to feel that way. They want us to feel like we should only get the crumbs at the back of the Pringle can. That's how they treat us. They'll make sure the stacks go to, the DJ, the MC, the graffiti artist, a lot of the times for doing the artwork, the event, promoters, all of that. But the minute it gets time to get down to where the dancers are, it's like, I got like an extra $50. Maybe I can get some dancers for that. And then they manipulate you by telling you you're not qualified. Well, see, you're a good dancer, but we really don't know what you can do, and we don't want to take the risk. So we'll give you $50, and would you like that? And notice that they nod their head to make you say yes, and you don't have to. What I'm teaching you is how to stop being fooled by these people so that they can start taking you seriously. Because the biggest thing about what we do is that it has an elemental background. And understanding how to do this for yourself, how to create a career out of what you do, will take away your desire to feel like you have to go through the battle scene to get there. You don't. I've only battled like a handful of times in Atlanta, y'all. Most of them were b-boy battles, but the other half were like these all-style battles out here. And because people are more prone to following trends than actually sticking with and promoting a style all the way through, the trend changes, which means they only look for certain things, or they only want to learn certain things because they feel like if they do that, they can win. And you're fighting in hierarchy that is based off of only really elevating people who've either put in enough time, money, and energy into that same hierarchy, or elevating people that are your friends or your direct students. And I don't have time for that because you don't have time for that. That's why you only see me battle every once in a while. But that doesn't mean that I'm not a street dancer and I won't kick ass in a battle. I will. And people know that because when I've actually battled, I'm talking about original old school, gone to clubs and got into battles where it's just last man standing, I put my work in here. Yeah. I've done it. I know. Sorry about the lag. My bad. I'm sorry about the lag. I apologize for the lag. I'm sorry. Certain parts of the house are weird. But long story short, I've already proven who I am as a dancer. And I've proven who I am as an artist. I have a resume and everything. 6 pages long. People act like I'm not there sometimes. They kind of, they'll see what I'm doing. Or, they'll wait till they see me in person. Some people. The ones who show me the genuine love, I know who they are and they know I'm not talking about them. But there are some people out there that they only want to fool with you when they see that you have moves being made. They only want to fool with you when they see that you are making money. Or you're in the news. Because I've been in the news and everything. I've been in the news. I've been in television. I've been in all kinds of on-stage performances for festivals and music videos and stuff like that. I've been in podcasts, radio stations. Yeah, I've done all of that. But it's not about I did this, I did that. The biggest thing that I did was when I found other dancers who were like, whoa, you did all that? I'm like, dude, it's not that hard. Here's the tip. This is what you do. Here's how you get yourself there. And then I open up the door and let them know, if you need help with this, I'm going to give you all the tools, but if you need help, come talk to me. Because people are so afraid to give those details, that information, that knowledge to someone else. Oh, they're going to take my clout. They're going to take all my connections and stuff. And it's like, they're not going to take nothing from you that's not already out there to take. Stop being afraid. I open up the door for the next person because somebody opened up a door for me. And because they opened up a door for me, hey, sweetie, good to see you. Because they opened up a door for me, and of course, man, Chiefs, I got you. And that's what it's about. If we don't understand the fifth element of hip-hop is knowledge, right? Arguably beatboxing. Okay, fine. Sixth element, beatboxing. But the fifth element was knowledge originally. Because if you don't share what you know and what you do, things die. A long time ago, I had a dream about being on a slave ship. And somehow people had managed to overcome the shipmasters and took them out. And all of these people were just on top of the boat, singing, laughing, sharing knowledge, mathematics, and science. But nobody was steering the ship. Nobody knew how to operate the ship because no one had been taught how to steer the ship back to land. All that knowledge, all that connecting, all that bonding was going on this island boat, marooned out to sea. And not one person knew how to get that boat to somewhere where they could share that knowledge. There's an ocean of information surrounding us, but the only way to know how to get out there is to start exploring, start learning, and start sharing. So that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm starting these classes, because it's time out for you got to go through us in the battle scene, and we are the kings and queens of the battle scenes. No, there's no hierarchies here. OGs will tell you real quick. It wasn't about hierarchy. The real ones, the ones that actually did not care about the I gotta be scenes, the ones who settled down and started schools, started teaching students, started teaching prodigies, and teaching them not just the skill, but teaching them how to teach the skill. That's more infinitely valuable. You know what's one thing more dangerous than a slave that can read? A slave that can teach others to read. Because now it's not just this one problematic slave. Now it's a problematic slave that's making more problematic slaves wise to what we got going on. They're not ignorant anymore. You know? Not that we're slaves, but I don't want you guys to become slaves to the system. Because the battle scene has its place. But that's not the only place that dancers can be somebody. I battle when I want to. I don't have to. I'm not going and doing, step up 2 montages of me dancing in the rain, doing it for Little Saint because I need that money to pay my rent. I have paid jobs for that. I have consistent work where I go to studios and teach classes and teach the history and the foundation and teach them how to teach. I have a whole thing for this, And then when I feel like it, if I want to deal with all the politics of the battle scene, I'll go battle, Because whether it's a good scene or a bad scene, there's always politics in the scene because you are adhering yourself to someone's opinion of whether or not you are good at what you do versus someone else. That's why there's criteria. Foundations, fundamentals, creativity, level of difficulty, execution. Those are things you have to look at for any dance. But only time it really matters is when you're battling because there are plenty of people that will also say this. Oh, that dude was on TV. I saw him. Oh, I'll smoke him though. I could beat him right now. Why is he on TV and I'm not on TV? Because he's got more connections than you and he wasn't sitting around battling all the time. He figured it out. Somebody reached out to him. They figured out how to get their paperwork in order and they have that opportunity because they earned it. Whether they're the best in the world or not doesn't matter. Some of the worst dancers in the world can get booked for gigs. Not because people don't know the dance scene, because people want to know that you can hold a conversation, that you can negotiate your rates, that you can have a contract, you can show up on time, not be high, not be late, or not no-show, and show them that there's more to this dance scene than a bunch of idiots running around fighting each other and getting high and smelling like weed. Because they stereotype us that way so that they can pay us less. That's why I reach out to the dance scene and I say, hey, if you want to get your stuff together, I can show you how to get booked. And then I reach out to the corporate side and say, hey, stop assuming all of us can't do this. Because my crew comes first. They are the first people that I have worked with in a long time, that they understand the possibilities that come out of being professionally prepared for opportunity on all fronts. They're smart with their money. They're wise with their decisions. They train hard. They're foundationally based. And yeah, when I get them booked, I can negotiate top dollar for them because their resumes, their EPKs speak volumes for them. That is your dancer's credit, which is something I will go over in my class, the dancer's line of credit. So I'm letting you guys know, I already know my stuff, because they're going to come at you with the mentality of, oh, they're just dancers. We'll give them $50 and make them feel like we're doing them a favor. And but I have a resume and I have references. Do you want to give them a call? Because they don't give you your rate, you give them theirs. First nugget of information right there. You give them your rate. If they have a preset rate, you can say yes or no. But if they are asking you, you give them your rate. You let them know what you will work for. But understanding this, you can't have no resume. Or a resume with just random battles on it that nobody's going to care about. You're going to have to start somewhere. So yes, you will have to do some freebies. You're going to have to put in some work. But you use those work and you flip those freebies into paid opportunities. Something else I will teach. If you looked at the flyer, all of this information is on the flyer of how I will break down what it takes to go from being battle to business mentality. That is the key. And I'm only on here to tell the people that are on here listening that this is for y'all. Because I've told people this. In 2019, I was telling people this. In 2020, when everything shut down, I said, do not go to sleep over 2020. Whatever you don't have, this is the time to now get it. You got a break. Meaning you can train physically in your dancing to get better at your dancing because some of them was slacking. You learn how to do your documentation. You start looking into what you need professionally. An EPK, your video reels, your headshots, all the stuff you now have time while you are sitting at home on the computer to work on. And I told him, if you don't do it now, when 2021 rolls around, you will be left behind because everybody's going to be opening up and they're going to want people who are ready to go. They're not going to wait for you to get this stuff. They're going to say, you got your stuff ready, documentation, you have EPK, send it to me now. You don't have it? Okay, next person. I don't have time for you because you had a whole year. I told people this. And the ones that listened are in my crew. Just saying. I told people this. And I told them back then. I would have 2 people in a live, just like I do now, telling them why they're seeing me on TV, why they're seeing me on the news, why I'm traveling to different states and was about to travel out of the country to do this. All of that. All of that. But like I said, people weren't listening the first time around. So this time around, yes, I'm doing a professional class and everything because now it's part of my income. Certification for some dance styles and culture, yes. Because I also, as a member of USA Breakin', am registered and certified as a member and as a coach. So that certification means that wherever I go to teach, I can start training kids for the Olympics, 2024 Paris Olympics. But also, to become certified in the style, you need to know the foundation. You go back and learn the history. You do your research, the technique, the terminology, all of that. Because once you can adhere to the technique that comes from the past and understand what that means and then teach it forward, that's your certification. Originally, the OGs were the ones who taught the next generation. Some of them still do. Some of them have, for whatever reason, they've gotten into themselves and they don't want to be irrelevant anymore, so they do the other thing where they cap everybody out and they don't want to teach nobody. They want to be the only people that are still up in age dancing, which is fine. Let them do their thing. But they cannot suppress the younger generation. And when you teach the younger generation, you have to teach them properly and with respect. Not coming at them like, you guys don't know nothing. You can't, you don't even know how to dance. I'm going to tell you how to dance. You can't be aggressive. Speak to them directly, but teach them. They don't know how to teach. Understanding how to teach is different than just teaching someone. I can call somebody all kinds of names and still teach them something, but that's not going to make them want to learn from me. That's going to make them turn their back on me. I can tell somebody that everything they do is great and never tell them the mistakes they make. And they will never learn a thing in their life because they're going to make up their own stuff and not understand foundation. Or I can learn how to teach this and stick to that and translate it so that the younger generation can understand what I'm saying. Where the old generation would have told us something completely different, I've used the concept of a new tablet to break down understanding foundation and fundamentals, like being a tutorial of how to use an iPad when you first get it. And you don't tweak or change those settings until you fully comprehend the use of that iPad. I've done that. The old generation won't know that because they don't use iPads, but I do. Where they would have broken down like, hey, this is how you fix an engine. You know, something like that. Just saying. This is how you use a pager. This is how you use a cordless phone or whatever they have back then. They would have used the references that they had to show you what they needed to show you. That's why it's important to teach, because the future is not going to wait for anyone. Either it survives the test of time or it dies. And all of that is in that class that I'll be teaching. So, when it drops, the flyer is on there. I will have the links and everything for those who are ready to take that class. Let me know, okay? And if you guys ever want to just talk to me in general, just let me know. Thank you, Miss Kara. I enjoy working with Ethan and Seth, and they're great. You know, they pick up, they listen. I know they're energetic, but they're great students, and I'm glad to be able to teach them, because once they get to the age where they comprehend what they're doing, then I start teaching them, okay, now this is what you can do with it and get paid. Not like, oh, well, they're cute kids, they don't understand money, so I'm just going to have them book so I can get a check. I don't do that. I don't take, for y'all to know, I don't take a cut from any of my dancers whenever we get booked as a crew. I get booked, I get paid. They get booked, they get paid. Only time somebody will pay me for them is if they pay me for booking them, which is something else that you will learn later on when it comes to dealing with sponsors and bookings. Something else I teach. Understanding how to negotiate. Sticking by your prices. Understanding that you can say no just as fast as you can say yes. And understanding that you don't just say yes. You always ask for a preliminary interview. You always ask for a actual meeting. They'll catch you when you're high in your energy right after you finish throwing down the club and try to get you to say yes to a gig real quick. Have you all booked up and ready to go and everything, and then never talk about pay. Or they'll talk about pay after the fact, or try to say, oh, well, but we saw you dancing and you're not that good. I've heard all this crap. But you don't get paid based on ex post facto material like that. You don't. Either they hire you or they don't. If they do not have the money to hire you, they have the option to ask you, but they can understand that, you can say no. Or if you want to say no, you can also ask them if there's a way to flip the freebie. You're not paying me, but can I get some social media? Can I get some residual from me? Can I put my flyers out there? Can you put me on your flyer? Can you shout me out? You know, other ways to make a non-paid gig lucrative. Coming prepared. All these things I teach y'all. Oh, Ethan heard me say his name. I mean, hey, he's a good student. But that's all I'm saying. I'm just letting people know that that's what that conversation is going to be about, you know? Because what we do is bigger than just this unknown hidden world beneath the surface that comes out at night, you know, the way they show it in like, you know, You Got Served and stuff like that. It is. The business scene for dancers in Atlanta, it's a good question, because for us, we create events just as quickly as we attend others. And because we have a network where we work with other people and genuinely support and promote what they're doing, there are opportunities that we're doing for free now that are turning into paid opportunities, where they're going to start paying us full time to do it because we've already shown brand loyalty. Another thing you will learn about business, because the community kicked out for us. Some of them gave us our first breaks, and we don't forget them. So we go to their events. Now they're paying us to do things because they have the money to, because we big up their events. Their events get big, they shout out to us, we go to their events. Their events get bigger, they shout out to us, we go to their events. We got something going on, they promote us, they put us on to bigger opportunities. All of us are getting paid. Now we're at the point where we've made a lucrative increase in business, understanding, perpetual growth, brand loyalty, things that make you all elevate at the same time, because the negative version of that is, I throw a battle, you pay me. I throw a battle, you pay me again. I throw a battle, you pay me, you might win. I throw a battle, you pay me, you might win if this guy's not there. Where's the community in that? Because, yeah, I'm inviting the community to come out and pay me for my event because I have this huge battle. And it has a lot of following on Instagram, so you might get a couple of people that follow you if you win. But where's the community aspect? Having events and battles is fine, y'all. But there's way more the community can do than just you versus that person and drama online and all that other stuff. You don't need all that. Community is supposed to come together, not tear apart. And if people know something's rigged, they know something's, oh, you're never going to win because there's these quote-unquote untouchables. They're not going to want to be part of that. They're going to split. And when people leave the community, it becomes like those ghost towns you hear about in the Old West. Things got too hard, they couldn't sustain, they couldn't come to a equilibrium with the environment, so then these towns were just there to just get buried in the sand. That's what happens when you have a hierarchy versus a community. What we do with Fire Nation Crew is building and showing the community, first and foremost, the foundations of what we do are real. We are dancers, we hone our craft, we believe in training. Secondly, we believe in supporting and growing the community and showing the community that we have the ability to give opportunity and take opportunities that are given to us and open it up to the next generation by teaching and demonstrating a professional version of what we do. And lastly, we believe in passing the torch, meaning we are not just doing this for ourselves. We are here to help those who are about what we have going on in handling business move forward, one way or another. That's community. That is what Fire Nation is about. That's what I've been about since before I created Fire Nation. So when I start doing these classes, I will let you guys know. The flyer's already dropped. Anybody that's got any questions, you already know how to reach out to me. It's perfectly cool. I'm not this who dares disturb me type person. Why? I mean, if I'm asleep or if I'm at work, that's one thing. But I'll usually see the message when I do, and I'll say, yo, sorry for the late reply, and answer. Okay? It's okay. But if y'all can make those classes, definitely make those classes. All right? And then for you, Miss Kara, because your kids come to my class anyways, I end up talking about this stuff to them anyways. Even though I know they might not understand the concept of getting booked and things like that, they need to hear these terms so that by the time they start asking the question of what does that mean, or how do you get on TV, or how do you do this, they'll understand the harder they train, the better they do their thing, the more valuable they are with their skill. You know? And I hear you, Chibs, man. I got you. You know, community is big, very big. You know, and I'm trying to also reach out. I have family in Backlot City, whole Breakpoint crew. I've been trying to figure out ways to get them on, something. I know that Miss Leslie Ford. Shout out to Leslie Ford for helping organize Breakpoint and Volturi crew, and her daughter, who's also Mael, I believe is how you say it, Mael She's a great dancer. She's battled. I've given her pointers and tips. I've sent them a care package of my tutorial videos of me dancing, showing them drills to help them out. And over 2020, they were still killing it. You know, I help who I can. It's just sad that I can help more people outside my own city than I can in my own city sometimes. But that's going to change. I'm working on it. We are starting a studio soon. And let's believe, it's not just going to be us coming in there dancing and taking people's money. We're going to train these students to be career professionals. Dope enough in the skill so people can't say that they're just a bunch of studio dancers. They're going to have foundation. They're going to have history. They're going to understand who is who and what is what. But professional enough to transition into the corporate world, to get outside of that community bubble and go into the world where there are no dancers, where they don't care about, oh, you won that battle? Cool. They're going to go and be able to talk about, okay, so our numbers look like this. We have this new product coming out. What is your take on a social media campaign for this? What can you bring to the table to help us promote this product? And what numbers can we be looking at when it happens? What's your social media reach, you know? What is your, all these questions that they will ask you in a professional interview to hire you to do a job or to sponsor you. You know? Things you need to know. But I'm going to go ahead and jump off of this so I can charge my phone because I will be teaching the class in less than an hour online. And then Ms. Kara, I'll see y'all at 6:30. But much respect to y'all. Thank y'all for listening to all of this because I really, really want to make sure that y'all understand that where I'm coming from is deeper than just, you know, I'm a dancer and I've got all this stuff I'm doing. I'm excited too about everything. But my mind is always going because there's more that I want y'all to be able to do just like me. You know? It's bigger than just being that dancer that went viral from a YouTube video. It's bigger than being a dancer that won a battle in the city and then somebody just happened to hear about it. I'm talking about making a professional career out of dance. Consistent work. But I'll jump off. I'll catch you guys later. Y'all know where to find me if y'all got anything, and I'll see y'all soon. Have a good one.